Welcome to the Effective Speaker Podcast, your go-to resource for mastering public speaking and communication. Each episode delivers tools and tips to unlock your potential and help you speak with confidence. Now let's get ready to speak with confidence in every word.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our very first episode of Effective Speaker Podcast with me, Amelia, and my partner.
Hi, I'm Robin.
Now we are going to dive into a new format in 2025. We really hope with a longer and more complete content in podcast, it will equip you and it will bring benefit for you that will make you more effective speaker. And in the future, we will also invite guest speakers that will share their expertise and their success stories. So today's topic itself is very special. We carefully pick it as the topic for our first episode. So, Robin, can you explain a bit about our first topic?
Yeah, so the first topic of this episode is small talk in a social setting. And our next episode will focus more on a small talk, but in a professional setting. So, why do we tackle small talk in our first episode? Well, in our previous survey that we have conducted lately, we noticed that small talk was the main challenge for most people. And it's also a conversational topic that we encounter every single day. So that's why we are starting off with small talk.
Wow, yes. And that's really interesting because I believe small talk is not only small talk, we also know that in order to create a network, it definitely start with a small talk first. So before we dive into
Mm.
the G's of the conversation of today's podcast, I would like to ask you a personal question first, Robin. I know that you are an
Hmm.
introvert. So my question for you will be, as an introvert, do you find small talk comfortable?
Well, to be honest with you, small talk is not comfortable for an introvert. We hate small talk. We do not know how it will go. We don't like it because it's shallow. But I think it's important to engage into small talk conversation. So let's see why it's important. It's important because it's as simple as ABC. So A is act like a bridge that creates the connection. B is for building rapport and trust. And C is creating opportunities for collaboration and networking. I've been to a networking event recently and I've met a bunch of people who are directors of big companies. And we started to talk about why communication was so important in workplace. And the more we talk about it, the more we found out it was really useful. And they trusted me and they even offered me to collaborate with them by offering public speaking and communication training at their companies. Therefore, the small talk acted like a bridge to create connection, built rapport and trust, and created opportunities for collaboration.
Yes, and that's one of the reason why we have these as our first episode topic. Because again, it's ABC, it's act as a bridge of connection. I believe connection is the heart of relation and heart of communication. And B, build rapport and trust. And C, to create more opportunities for collaboration and networking. Well, our listeners, that you can use this content in order to build trust and create more collaboration and opportunities in the future. So like you mentioned before, Robin, you said yourself that as an introvert it's something that is not comfortable for you. So why do you think people struggle and why small talk is uncomfortable for I would say most people?
Well, let's start with the first question first. Why do people struggle? People struggle because they feel afraid or they're worried about this thing called rejection.
Mm,
Because most people do not know how to respond and they feel like this kind of anxiety inside of them about feeling of like what to say or feeling worried about this feeling of rejection. Like people might reject what they say. So that's why it's quite a struggle for them. And the next thing is, why is it uncomfortable, right? So, why small talk feels uncomfortable? Small talk feels uncomfortable because it lacks of direction. Most people want to know where to go and how to go there and how to arrive there. So, but they do not know how to handle that kind of conversation because they do not know how to navigate. So, lack of direction, they need to know where to start, where to go, and how to get there. So, that's why people find it uncomfortable. The second thing is the pressure to impress. People feel pressured to impress people like with great ideas, with great thoughts that we want to share. Let me give you an example. I've been to this event recently where I talked about it earlier that I met up with directors of big companies. Well, they didn't just introduce themselves as, hey, I'm the CEO of this company. Hi, I'm the managing director of this company. No, they didn't come to me as their title, but they came to me as human, as a one to one. So the good thing is the moment you approach someone as being on the same level, there will be no pressure to impress. So imagine if they came to me like, hi, I'm the CEO of this company. I would feel I need to have the impression or the pressure to impress them with big ideas, with big topics, with something that is more business related that maybe I'm not very familiar with. So it kind of like put the pressure on. That's why it feels uncomfortable. But the good thing is that we don't have to feel pressure to impress, but more to find how we can relate on the same level. Look at the person in the eye right now and then just say that, we are the same. We're on the same level. Let's talk. That's it. It
Mm,
doesn't have to be uncomfortable.
yeah. I believe it came with practice as well for you as an introvert to reach that level, right? So I can relate with sometimes we afraid to initiate conversation because we feel we are afraid of rejection. What if the person didn't respond to my questions? Or what if the person doesn't want to respond and just walk away? How can I handle those kind of rejections? Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
comfortable for sure, but by practicing and by knowing how to navigate conversation, I believe small talk will become more and more comfortable for us to initiate.
Hmm.
So again, how to make small talk comfortable? Is there any practical strategies you mentioned before about all the thing that create anxiety? Anything that you do to help you to make small talk comfortable?
Very good question. How to make small talk more comfortable. So it all starts with what I call the three H. So the head, the heart, and the hand. So the head, the heart, and the hand. So how you go about it is by starting with the head. So head, what happens in the head is we tend to overthink.
Mm.
We create that kind of anxiety. Like we overthink so much of what to say. How do I look like? Would I say something stupid? Would I say something weird that people will look down on me? So all those kind of thoughts that happens in the mind, in the head itself. So what I would suggest to you is before walking into a networking event, try to do this. So close your eyes and visualize that you're going to meet some friends. Yeah, do it right now. So close your eyes and visualize that you are going to meet some friends, like your best friend. You're having a great conversation. Now, I want you to internalize it. Be mindful of how it feels and internalize it right now. Okay. So if you feel it and then be with it, be with your friends, take a deep breath and exhale one more time. And that's how it will help you to be more comfortable to go on. So the second H is the heart. When we feel anxious, our heart tends to beat very fast. Boop, 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 very, very fast. And we feel like we don't know what to say. We feel like we tremble. But then the only way to reduce that kind of anxiety in our heart is to breathe. I've seen a lot of people telling tricks like, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. For me, it doesn't help. So, but one way, another trick is to really breathe is to exhale fully. So exhale like completely all the way through until you have no more breath. So lean forward and then slowly breathe in. But by the time you catch your breath again, you feel the kind of energy into your body, and your heart will start to beat at a pace that is normal again. And that's how you can work for your heart. The last thing is hand. So, hand is go around and practice small talk with strangers by shaking their hands and asking simple questions like the weather, asking about their hobbies, and asking what brought them to this event today. So that will help you to able to navigate into conversation. So start by shaking hands with people that you do not know.
Thank you for the another abbreviations that you gave. You gave us ABC and now you gave us triple H, which is head, heart, and hand. Previously, when I practiced with you to visualize things, I think it helps a lot. Sometimes we feel worried and anxious because we don't know what we're going to face. But when we visualize ourselves in probably in the networking sessions that we're going to have and picturize ourselves talking with our friends or other strangers, casually and confidently, somehow it can, prepare ourselves better. So that is really practical strategies that you shared. Thank you so much. So really hope that the listeners also can practice that, and as well as the breathing exercise to fully exhale and slowly inhale in order to regulate our anxiety better. So that's probably how to prepare ourselves, right? Head, heart, and hand. Now, another practical strategies that I would like to ask from you is to how to start a conversation. Like, how do I know what to ask when I initiate a small talk?
There's this song that is trending lately, and this song is called APT. You know this song?
Yep.
Apatu, apatu. Yeah. So APT, let's use APT in a type of strategy to start any conversation. So what does APT stand for? First is acknowledge, probe, and transform. Acknowledge, probe, and transform. So acknowledge is like this. Start with an observation or a compliment. Probe, ask a relevant and open ended question. Third is transform, shift the conversation to shared interests or provide a smooth transition. Let's put it into action. This is how APT works in real life. I noticed you were talking about your startup earlier. That sounds fascinating. Acknowledge. What inspired you to start it? Probe. That's such a cool journey. I've always admired entrepreneurs. Do you think startups are thriving in this industry right now? Transform. So APT, acknowledge, probe, transform. There's another thing that I would like to share with you is to is a tip that really helped me out as well, which is to have a bank of questions. So write out the questions into cue cards and then put it into your pocket and then bring it with you. So whenever you go for a networking event, before you engage into a conversation, it's good to just open it up and read different kind of questions that you might want to ask some people, some interesting questions. So if you don't know what kind of question, you can ask, for example, you can ask ChatGPT or you can Google it up, different kind of questions to engage into a conversation. And then you just put it into cue cards, put it with you. But of course, don't open it up in front of someone and then after that you read the question. But just read the question beforehand and internalize it. And then they can ask any kind of question that will help you out.
Mm, right. That's so practical. So I noticed the very first one, acknowledge, is start with observation and give a compliment. That's an easy way to start
Yeah.
conversation. You can just casually say that, hey, I like the way you dressed tonight, or hey, I saw you singing before, your voice is fascinating. Or you can mention about what they just did previously on how you observe those things. I believe when people get compliment, they will be more open to follow up with the conversation. So again, acknowledge,
Yeah.
probe with question, and you can have lists of questions in your pocket, casual questions to start conversation. And the third is to transform and ask probably something deeper, a common interest that will bring you to another level of conversations. That's very interesting. Robin, one of the things that I found it's become a challenge in small talk is an awkward silence. Sometimes we ask
Mm.
questions and the person just answer yes and no, and then no further conversation, and it becomes very awkward. Okay, so how can you handle the fear of awkward silence in small talk conversation?
Well, first is not to feel pressure to answer, because at times when there's awkward silences, you feel awkward, right?
Mm.
And we tend to feel like, did I say something wrong? If you feel you feel anxiety again, you feel pressured. So don't feel pressure to answer. Maybe the person is still processing, or maybe the question was not relatable. So my advice to you is to stay calm and then you pivot. What do I mean by pivot? Pivot stands for pause, initiate, validate, open a new thread, and transition. So, this is how you do it. So, pause is embrace the silence calmly and breathe in. Initiate is break the silence with an observation and with a like comment or neutral question. Next is to validate, is acknowledge the awkwardness with empathy or just humor if needed to. And then open a new topic, change the subject or revisit an earlier topic. And then the last is to transition, gracefully move from one conversation to another, or you can just close the interaction. So let's have a demonstration of how it works. Smile and nod gently. Show that you're truly open to the conversation. So that's pause. Next is to initiate. This venue is really well put together. Have you been to events like this before? Next is validate. It's funny how these pauses happen at events like this. I might just sometimes just feel like I need a script. Next is to open a new topic. By the way, I remember you said you were in marketing. Tell me, what's the most exciting project that you work on lately? And lastly is transition. It's been nice chatting. I'm going to check out over booth right now, but I hope we can connect later, maybe on LinkedIn. And friends, that's how you pivot during awkward silences.
Right, interesting. I noticed you say that sometimes we just need to embrace the silence itself as a part of conversation. So it can be a sign that the person still process the answer, or it also can be a sign that the question is not really relatable with them. I can imagine myself if people ask me about soccer. I feel it will be also awkward for me to answer. I will just probably keep silent and, just answer by, oh, sorry, I don't know much about it. So what you just
Yeah.
shared, it's something that is practical as well. So um, just embrace the silence and pause, like just stay calm.
Mm.
The pause itself make us to stay calm, and by doing that, when you stay calm, you will be able to find another new thread or new topic that probably more relatable with the people. And again, I noticed you mentioned observation again in your answer. So I think skill to observe it's really important in navigating small talk. Right. Thank you so much, Robin, for sharing your insights about small talk, especially your insight as a person who also feel uncomfortable and struggle. So I think it's very authentic for you to share about it. And I really hope to all the listeners, after you listen to this podcast, small talk will not be as scary as before, and you will be able to take practical strategies that Robin has shared in these episodes. So, do you want to say something as your final word, Robin?
My encouragement for everyone is to be genuine to ourselves and also to others. When you are with other people, ask questions with curiosity. Be
Mm.
curious about what they do, about life, about anything, and you will make that conversation more smooth and it will be real.
Yes, I think that's a very good final word. Be genuinely interested with other people and also be yourself in the same time. It's not about to impress other people, and it's not about the skill or anything that in your head, but it's about being really curious about other person. And I believe with that kind of curiosity and genuineness, the conversation will flow naturally. Right. Thank you so much, Robin, and everybody. So, again, stay tuned for our next episode. We will talk about small talk in professional settings. See you in the next episode.
Thanks for listening to the Effective Speaker podcast. We hope you picked something useful today. Enjoy this episode, follow us, and share it with a friend who wants to speak more confidently. Let's keep the conversation going. Connect with us on social media for more tips and tools. And as always, speak with confidence in every word.